Hey everyone, and welcome to Mira Developer by Mira World. Today, we're going to tackle one of those core concepts that really separates the beginners from the pros, Python modules and imports. This is how you build real, scalable software. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been working on a project, maybe an app or a game, and you just kept cramming all your code into one single Python file? We've all been there. And before you know it, you look up and you're staring at this monster file with thousands of lines of code. It's just a gigantic, intimidating wall of text.
Yeah, trying to find that one specific function becomes a total nightmare. The whole thing is just impossible to read.
And what happens when you need to fix a bug or add a new feature? Forget it. You change one line over here and something totally unrelated breaks over there. Maintaining it is a constant headache.
And trying to grow that project? No way. It just doesn't scale. You basically hit a brick wall. And fast. Look, this just isn't how professional software is built.
Instead, the pros use a way more elegant, way more powerful solution, modules. So let's break down what they are and exactly how you can use them to seriously level up your own code.
Okay, so what in the world is a module? Well, you're gonna love this. It's actually super simple. A module is just a Python file. Any Python file that has code in it, functions, variables, you name it, can be a module. That's it. For instance, imagine you create a file and you call it math_operations.py. Inside, you could put all your functions related to math, like one for adding and another for multiplying. Boom! That file is now its own self-contained module. So you might be asking, why bother with this? Well, because modules are all about organization. They force you to separate responsibilities. Your math code lives in its own little house, your database code lives in another. This makes your code so much easier to reuse, it keeps your files clean and focused, and honestly, it's the only sane way to collaborate with the team. All right, so you've got your code all nicely organized into different files. Awesome. But how do you actually use the code from one file inside of another? Well, that's where the import statement comes in, and there are three main ways we can do this. Let's look at the two most common methods side by side. On the left, we have the standard import. Think of this like bringing in an entire toolbox. You get everything. But to use a tool, you have to be specific, math_operations.add. Now, on the right, you can be more selective. You can import just the add function. This is great because then you can just call add directly, which makes your code a little cleaner. So it's a trade-off, right? Total access versus cleaner syntax.
Now for the third method, which is a fantastic pro tip, using an alias, or basically a nickname. If you have a module with a really long or awkward name, you can give it a short, simple one with the as keyword. Here, we've just renamed math_operations to Mo. It's a small change, but man, it makes your code so much more readable.
And the best part? You don't have to build everything from scratch. Python comes packed with a huge library of built-in modules ready to go. Need to do some complex math, like find a square root? Just import math. Need to generate a random number? Just import random. These things are absolute lifesavers.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. We've seen the individual pieces, but how do these modules all come together to build a full professional project? If you look at a real-world project, you'll see every file has a very specific job. You'll almost always have a main.py file. That's the starting point, the script that kicks everything off. Then you'll have other files like calculations.py for all your logic, maybe a database.py to handle talking to your database, and a utils.py file for all those little helper functions you use everywhere. This kind of separation is absolutely key to building software that can actually grow without becoming a mess.
You know, this whole idea really boils down to a core programming principle. It's often called separation of concerns. By just mastering this one concept, keeping code for different jobs in different modules, you're actually equipping yourself to solve like 80% of the structural problems you're going to face as a developer. It's about building smart, not just building more. So where do you go from here? Let's do a quick recap of the essential skills we just covered. Okay, so in just a few minutes, you've learned what modules are, the different ways to import them, how to clean up your code with aliases, and maybe most importantly, how real-world projects are actually structured. The takeaway here is huge. You now have the foundational knowledge to stop writing those messy single-file scripts and start building organized, scalable applications just like a pro. If you found this helpful, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, drop a comment below, and of course, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.
In our next explainer, we're going to dive into virtual environments and installing packages, which opens up a whole new universe of possibilities. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.